Hello, class. I'm so sorry I couldn't be with you. Um, I appreciate your understanding and hope that you take this seriously and do everything I'm going to ask you to do. There will be several tasks that you have to do in your response to this video. It will count as attendance if you actually do everything. I'll be able to tell if you actually watched it because of what I'll ask you to do. But then I'll also put an assignment grade, so it'll be an extra little bump that you did it. And if you don't do it, well, I guess that counts as a 0 for an absence. And so far, I would like to keep the attendance going great like it's been doing. So, Chapter 18, Small Group Communication. We're supposed to form our groups tonight, and I'm really sorry that we're not going to do that. I'm reading my PowerPoint as I go through this, so if you notice it looks like I'm reading, I am going through the PowerPoint, so I highly recommend that you have it. Either the book, open to Chapter 18 and follow along, or follow through in the PowerPoint. And a quick overview, we're going to be talking about qualities, the models of group development, roles and tasks of group members, challenges and rewards of groups, and some tips for effective groups. There is a video, the Madagascar penguins. I would like you to watch it. It is cute, and it's entitled Effective Teamwork on the slide. But after you watch it, I would like you to please tell me, what was their goal? What was the point of that little group joint effort there? What were they trying to do? So that's going to be the first thing you're going to write about in your reply to me. Defining small groups. They vary in size. They list 3 to 15, but 15, having worked in groups myself at school, when you get to 15, that's really getting kind of large. The really best size is 5 to 7, because when you have that 15, you end up with automatically small groups forming. So then you get those subgroups going and little cliques and all. So, if you really have to do something, it's really best 5 to 7. And our groups, I'm trying to get you all to about 4 to 5 in a group, and we only have, I think, 13, so that's going to be a challenge. All right, so they function as systems, meaning they're interdependent. What one person does affects the other. If they don't do their job, it definitely has an effect on how the group. There's the idea of synergy, working together. And that's something that is an advantage of groups, is that synergy that builds from everyone working together. You maintain task-oriented goals. And if you think about our first groups are our families, and those who have dysfunctional families might explain why some people really have a hard time working as a group. So families that are solid work well together. This person has a chance to really see how groups work then in a positive way, and they may be a little better with groups. We also have temporary groups, such as your class. We're going to have groups there that'll be temporary, maybe within a workplace. Any sport you do, maybe it's something you just do. So we have temporary groups versus families. They're governed by their own norms, and norms are those implicit behaviors that we do that people just come to expect them to be done, but no one said they had to do it, versus their explicit rules where, the rules are this and you list them. Maybe a person speaks at a time. Maybe you have something that people hold when they're the speaking tool or whatever, that whoever has it speaks. Being punctual, having an agenda. These are the explicit rules, the things we say, this is what we'll do. Implicit is like maybe that one person who's always bringing snacks, and then it gets where everyone expects them to bring the snacks. And the one time that they don't, everyone's kind of disappointed. And yet it's not, a rule that they had to, just something they did. Or the person who tends to just automatically is able to calm people down, and yet they weren't assigned to be someone to do that. It's just something that they pick up and do. So implicit are just those norms that happen and continue, and we expect them. Explicit are those rules that you state that this is what we'll do. We can create identities. Being a part of a group can help us as far as becoming a little bit better who we are when we're part of this group. We tend to identify ourselves as part of that group, and it increases cohesiveness. Cohesiveness is kind of the attraction we have for each other as group members, the idea that we believe in what we're doing or we enjoy what we're doing. And so the more we get along and kind of respect each other, that cohesiveness builds. And your second task for your reply, I want you to please a second bullet point, because I don't want a paragraph, just give me bullet points. So your second bullet will be, what is cohesiveness and how can it help? So when we keep that member cohesiveness going, we solve problems, we solve little conflicts, and that can actually help the group improve, because we learn a little bit more of each other and what works, doesn't work. The problem with cohesiveness, if we're too cohesive, no one wants to rock the boat. No one wants to like shake up the group. So then you may end up making bad decisions because no one wants to be the naysayer or something. So group cohesiveness can be harmful when it becomes too strong, and no one wants to be kind of breaking up that harmony going on. And that's where maybe having someone who plays devil's advocate could be helpful, where someone who points out the negative aspects of a decision or something, and that can help the group discuss maybe things in a better way so that you're making good decisions and don't end up doing bad things. The next slide gets into synergy. I would like you to please watch this. It's, I think, like 3 minutes, 2 minutes, something like that. It's pretty quick. But after you watch it, I would like you to, your third bullet, explain, based on the video, what is synergy. And then as another part of that bullet point, besides what is synergy, what is the problem in building the tree house that could happen in any group, and keep a group from accomplishing its goal? Okay, so that's bullet 3 with 2 parts to it. The next slide gets into how groups develop. We have the phase theory of group development. Phase 1 would be the orientation, where you're getting to know each other, kind of talking, starting to figure out the goal. Phase 2, you have conflict, which is normal because you have different personalities and maybe different ways of reaching the goal. So you've got to work through that and figure out best how to get there. Phase 3, the emergence. Now you're starting to see real progress going and coming up with that goal. And phase 4, reinforcement, where you feel good about the goal, you're accomplishing it, and it's complete. The Tuckman model group development has stages, and stage 1 is the forming stage, which is what we should have been doing Thursday, and I feel bad about that. I am actually going to have you email me the list of at least 1 or 2 people you would like to work with. And I realize you may or may not know anyone well enough to know names, but either email me, I really don't know who I want to work with, or email me 1 or 2 names of people you would like to be in your group. And then I'll see about possibly trying to start some groups up over the week while I'm up in New York. Stage 2 is the storming. This is where you're brainstorming ideas, kind of hashing through what is the goal, what are some ways we can get there. There may be a little bit of that conflict in there too as you work through personalities. Now stage 3, the norming. This is where you've kind of settled, the dust has settled, and you've gotten a routine going. You have your norms, you have your rules. Stage 4, you're performing. You've got it, you're down, you've got the task figured out. Stage 5, adjourning, is you've met your goal, you've submitted it, performed it, done whatever it is that you need to do with it, and now you're adjourning. Because the thing about groups versus teams, groups generally are temporary, they don't last. They complete a task, complete a goal, look into something, a committee of some kind, and once they've accomplished it, they tend to just dissolve, go apart. Teams, when you think of like athletic teams, well, you have teams within businesses as well, where maybe different people joining over time, but that team is always there regardless. So groups are a little different. Groups are generally more temporary. So please email me either I don't know, I don't care who I work with, or one or two people that you really connected with. And again, we have a couple of people who cannot be together because you're friends outside of class and you know who you are. So that would be task number 4. Because you're also so you're going to email me names, but then bullet number 4 would be, what were we supposed to be doing Thursday that we're not getting to do? Which stage of the Tuckman model are we missing out on? Okay. And the next slide, we have group member tasks. This is something as you're working, I would like you to be thinking about it. You have a balance of task versus relationship, because obviously you need to talk to each other, get to know each other, build a little relationship to get that cohesiveness going. But you also need to make sure you're working on the task. If you have too much chit chat and other stuff going on, then the task is getting ignored. So you need to have a balance of task and relationship. The roles may be shared. Maybe you're you each kind of have different things. Who's going to take care of keeping track of notes? You're going to need an IT person, someone who's going to share a document, a Word document with the whole group, so that on that Word document, you will be jotting down notes, ideas, links, brainstorming, because during the week, I expect you to be participating on that Word document so that when you come back to class, you'll be able to talk through ideas that you posted, and actually get more discussion going during class. So that Word document, or Google, I guess it's a Google Doc is what it would be. I'm sorry, I'm old. I still think Word. But Google Doc that you'll share with your group members so that you can share ideas, brainstorm, and all that during the week. Recording would be someone who's just taking notes. So maybe on that Google Doc that you have during class, you might have a section that you put for like class notes, decisions you make, what everyone's going to do. Commentating, you could add comments to the Google Doc as well as you're working, but you should also be commentating in class. Researching, have another section where maybe you put links for ideas or resources. Encouraging each other, challenging ideas. Remember that kind of devil's advocate who's willing to kind of point out, well, the negative sides of doing, and of course the coordinating where you're all bringing it together. So these are different kinds of roles that maybe different people, you might have a couple of these, or maybe have one person who does one thing. So these are ideas, things to think about as you work within your group. But what I would like you to do for bullet point number 5 is tell me, how are you going to be working together outside of class? What is the forum that I want you to use to share? Your IT person will be sharing something. Tell me what that is so that you can work together outside of class. Next slide. Challenges and rewards of working within a group. I myself hate groups because, that introvert in me, and I had a bad time with the group in my associate's degree where the group didn't do anything like they're supposed to. I got a bad grade because this is back before, tech days, email and all that. Well, it was in the 90s, so there's email, but it wasn't a real way to work together, so we couldn't share the document easily. So challenges, you have groupthink. This is where that cohesiveness, you all get so close together that no one wants to rock the boat or kind of bring up issues that could be negative. So you tend to get into bad decisions. You have group hate, people, who just hate working as groups. I'm finding a lot more young people are enjoying groups, and I guess because high school, you're doing so much more group work. Non-participation, you get the people who are just there and they're not doing their part, and I really don't want to hear that someone is not doing their part, because what I will do, if there's an issue, I will take that person out of the group and give them a 0 for the group, because I don't, and I think I mentioned this already, that I kind of don't deal with that. If someone's not doing their part and the group's upset, if they can't work it out, then I just take that person out. And then it's not an issue. Domination, where you have the person who just wants their ideas and they're not willing to listen to us. So if you're one of those that you're take charge kind of person, realize you need to back down and make sure everyone, that's part of the point of having that Google Doc, is so that everyone has a chance to share their ideas, because in class, you may have that one person who's more quiet and doesn't like to speak up much. So the Google Doc is a way to keep the domination down and everyone gets a chance to share. Irresponsibility would be the idea of maybe people who aren't being careful about the links and the work they're doing, and it's kind of the sloppy stuff that they're getting in. So these are challenges working with these different things. Some rewards would definitely be the efficiency, because you have more people who can get out there, research, bring things together. You get to learn from each other. You'll find as you start kind of brainstorming for ideas that hopefully you see a lot of differences, and then it's a matter of finding something in common, and you get exposed to different kinds of people, maybe people who are culturally very different from you, even if it's just age or gender wise. So these are some rewards of working within the group. And so bullet point number 6, what I would like you to do is to be positive. What could be a reward for you with this group project? What is something that might help you? Because keep in mind, at the end of the semester, you will be presenting your project as a group to the whole class. So you'll be standing up as a group with your PowerPoint and presenting. So based on, everything we've talked about here, what would be a reward? It doesn't have to be one of the 3 we talked about, just for you yourself. What could be a reward? So that's going to be bullet point number 6. Sorry, I changed an order here, so I'm keeping notes so I can keep track. And I think this is one of the last slide. So dialogue in groups, because every chapter we notice we have something about dialoguing. Allow for non-task talk, because you do need to get to know each other, and you need to build that cohesiveness, get to like each other, feel kind of a rapport together. And part of that is just talking in general. So I will encourage talking within your groups, but of course the point is you want to be careful that it's not all non-task talk. I definitely do not want people on cell phones during the group project work. I want you paying attention to each other. Paraphrase contributions to ensure understanding. So if someone says something, maybe you're not quite sure, say it in your own words to see if you're really understanding what they're saying. That can help stop any conflicts as well. Take turns talking. Don't, again, if you're one of those take charge people, don't dominate the conversation. If you're one of those real quiet people, try to make a point of speaking up at least once. Take good notes. Maybe have your someone who can bring a laptop to class, that during group work, they have the Google document up and they can be taking notes as you talk, decisions you all make. So have someone who's like your scribe or someone to take good notes. That could be the IT person, whatever. You could have different, you kind of want to have people doing different roles. Be flexible. Don't be so closed in on your ideas that you're not open to other ideas. It's really important in group projects that you listen to each other and kind of open yourself up to other experiences. And engage in constructive conflict, which, remember, to construct is to build. So you want conflict that maybe can build each other up and help clear up misunderstandings. Instead of getting upset, try to maybe understand, why did you say that? Why do you think that? How could this help us? Try to ask questions that can encourage dialogue so that you can solve any conflicts in a peaceful manner. Okay, so this covers everything for small groups. I was going to cover chapter 19 as well, which gets into leadership. And I don't like to do long videos because I know myself, I hate watching long videos. So what I am going to ask you to do for point number 7 is read, or at least skim through, the chapter 19 on leadership. And your 7th bullet point, give me something from the leadership chapter that you think might be useful as far as in your career later. Maybe you don't want to be in management or something, but leadership can also be just willing to kind of be a mentor or help out other employees. It doesn't have to be about actually going into management, but what is something in the leadership chapter 19 that you think would be useful and help you in your career later, just to be a better employee and maybe possibly a mentor to new employees and such. Okay, so those are your tasks that you need to do. Please make sure you hit reply at the bottom of the discussion board post and do all of those different tasks I gave you. Remember, I don't want a paragraph. That's a lot of reading, and I am going to be kind of busy, but I do want to know that you read these, that you understand it, and that'll be helpful to you. And I look forward to seeing you Thursday the 20th. I will ask that you have this done by Sunday night. I realize some of you, knowing that class is canceled, may have picked up a shift at work or something. I get it. So by Sunday night, please have this done. It'll count as an attendance grade if you actually do everything, so I know you watched the video. And then there's also the 20 points just for actually responding. Thank you, and take care, and have a good night, good day. And it's only 20 minutes.